The people who live in non-Arab countries, such as India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Singapore, Malaysia, Europe, the US, they do not know Arabic. The vast majority of the congregation do not know Arabic. So what's the ruling on giving a khutbah on a Friday, the sermon of Friday, in their local language? Scholars have differed. A lot of them said that this is not permissible, exactly as it is not permissible in, let's say, for salat. Does anyone say that if I'm not an Arab and I'm praying Fajr, I can pray the Fatiha in the translated language, not in Arabic? Can I say Allah the greatest and I make ruku' and may Allah answer the one who praises him instead of Sami Allahu liman hamidah? The consensus is no, this is a no-go. You cannot do this at all. So they say that this is similar to khutbah al-Jumu'ah. Other scholars said no. First of all, there is a big difference. The difference is that this is prescribed. Al-Fatiha is prescribed, but what is said in the khutbah is not prescribed. So the language is important in order to convey the message. I remember I went to Delhi, and not New Delhi. I went to the old city in India years ago. And I attended a masjid in one of the biggest, attended the Friday prayer in one of their biggest masjids. Beautiful place, filled with Muslim Indians, in a sight that brings joy to the heart to see all these Muslims coming early for this great weekly sermon. Then, after long anticipation, the Imam came with his staff, with his big turban, with his red beard, putting henna. I said, MashaAllah, following the Sunnah, excellent. And then he started by saying, Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. And he gave 2 sermons in Arabic. Being a native, I did not understand a single word, though it was in Arabic. I was looking at the congregation who do not know Arabic to begin with, and it was nothing to them as well. So the only person who understood the Friday sermon was the Imam himself. That's it. Because his Arabic was so lousy, I couldn't understand anything of his khutbah. And because it's in Arabic, the congregation did not understand. I came out and started thinking, this is the most important sermon of the week, if not the only sermon of the week that a Muslim gets to listen to. And what use is it to them if they are not able to understand? So definitely this is not what Islam wants. For a 1.7 billion Muslims to just waste a good hour listening to something they have no understanding of, while the other option is available. And what is the other option? The other option is that the Imam says the Shahada. So he praises Allah. Inna alhamdulillah. This is Arabic. Wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. This is the Shahada in Arabic. Then he recites one ayah during the whole sermon. So if he says, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu ittaqullaha haqqa tuqatihi wa la tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun. This is an ayah. And then that is it. These are the requirements of the khutbah, as the jurors and the scholars say. If you say this, and then afterwards you continue your khutbah in your local language or in English or whatever language that is understood to the people, this is totally fine and legit. And those who claim that this is not permissible are definitely dead wrong. Some people compromise. So they give the first khutbah in Arabic and the second khutbah a translation of it in their local language. This is okay. but it will prolong the time, because the first khutbah, everybody's playing with his fingers or with his keychain or with his miswak, because he's not understanding a single word. Other people do something different, and that is, they give the khutbah in their own local language before the actual time of Jum'ah. So it's like a circle or a dars, or they call it in some countries, your country, bayan. And then when it's time for salat, the imam comes and says in Arabic, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and sits down. The mu'adhin gives the adhan, and then he gives a khutbah in Arabic, which nobody understands, and then he prays the salat afterwards. But the win-win situation is the one that I have told you about in the beginning, on Allah Azza